So consciousness transcends the body-mind. Body-mind changing, consciousness unchanging. Someone may ask, we keep saying Atma is unchanging, consciousness is unchanging. What is the proof? Suppose consciousness is changing. See, for asserting anything, you need an epistemological proof. That means the question will be, how do you know XYZ? How do you know? If you say consciousness is, if you say something is changing, in the body is changing, I'm raising my hand, lowering my hand. If I make this statement, if you ask, how do you know? See, you can see it. If I say that I have a happy thought in my mind, I feel happy. If you ask, how do I know? I know it internally through introspection. The feeling is clear to me. So, how do you know? Now, body is changing, we can see. Mind is changing, we can directly experience. Consciousness is changing, how will you know? If it is possible for consciousness to change, just for the sake of argument, if we say consciousness itself to change in some way, then the change should be noted. If the change is not known, if it's not noted, there's no use speaking about it. But if it is noted, if it is known, then it is not consciousness. It becomes an object to consciousness. You see, this is a very interesting thing. To be known, to be an object of knowledge, it must become an object of consciousness, must become an object to consciousness. So a change in the body is an object to consciousness, no problem. We have that all the time. Change in the mind is an object to consciousness, no problem. Every time we look inside, we can see changing thoughts and feelings. But change in consciousness, if it becomes an object, it is no longer consciousness, it's an object. If it is in consciousness and not an object, and after that, if you say that no, it changes, but we cannot know it, that is a meaningless statement. If it cannot be known, why say it at all? So, by logic, we come to this understanding consciousness itself. By consciousness itself, pure consciousness, consciousness itself, Chaitanyam, we mean the same thing. So, this is not a concept understood clearly yet in the Western philosophy of mind, in the modern philosophy of mind and neuroscience. In neuroscience, mind and consciousness are used interchangeably, and they are always changing. The idea is that consciousness changes, transformation of consciousness, elevation of consciousness, different conscious states. Vedanta would say no, transformation of body mind, higher mind, lower mind, change of state, even waking, dreaming, deep sleep. Vedanta talks about 3 states of consciousness. No. Vedanta talks about consciousness illumining 3 states of the mind. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep are states of the mind, not of consciousness. Consciousness does not have states. The consciousness in its ultimate nature, which Vedanta speaks about. So this unchanging luminosity, which we have within ourselves, which is discovered this way. And the Vedanta gives multiple processes for discovering this. Drigdrishya Viveka, where you see, whatever you see is an object, and you, the seer, are the subject. And when you apply it, world is an object, the eyes are the subject. Eyes are the object, mind is the subject. Mind is the object, and I, consciousness, am the subject. But the consciousness never becomes an object. Consciousness is ever the pure subject. Drigdrishya Viveka. Another method is Panchakosha Viveka. You look at your own body mind. See, Upanishads are like very skillful teachers. They take us from what is absolutely obvious and known to us into more subtle thoughts. So take this very body mind. When we say, who are you? The investigation is, what am I? The first answer is here, this body. Upanishad says, start with that. Vedanta says, start with that. You start with the body. And body is called Annamaya Kosha because it is a modification of Annam or food. And we are shown philosophically how we cannot be the body. Changing body, but I feel an identity, unchanging identity. Changing and unchanging cannot be the same thing. Body is an object. I am a subject. Subject and object cannot be the same thing. Drigdrishya, so I cannot be the body. Body is insentient. I am aware of the body. Body is not aware of me, the self. So the chit and jara, the two cannot be the same thing. Because I am unchanging and the body is changing, I cannot be the body. Because I am the witness subject and the body is an object, then I cannot be the body. Because I am conscious and the body is something I'm conscious of, it's an inert thing, I cannot be the body. And there are many such reasonings. And that shows the Panchakosha Viveka says, this is why you are not the body. Similarly, the prana, you are not the prana, which is subtler than the body. Go further inside, more subtle, the mind, for same reason, changing, unchanging, subject and object, chit and jada. For these reasons, I cannot be the stream of thoughts called the mind. Go further inwards. The buddhi, the intellect, which we are using just now to understand all this, that is also changing all the time. That is also an object of our awareness. That is also not chit, it is jada. See, here already we are very far ahead of contemporary philosophy of mind, because at the level of mind and intellect, manas and buddhi, this is exactly what contemporary philosophers of mind say, that this is consciousness. Vedanta says, no, 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 this is not consciousness. Vedanta has a very elegant way of differentiating between consciousness and not consciousness. The knife by which you make this cut, the criterion by make this differentiation is, if it can be experienced, if it is an object, then it is not consciousness. Whatever is an object is not consciousness. Body, object, because I can see it. Prana, breathing in, breathing out, object. I can experience it. Thoughts, I can experience them, object. Even intellect, I can experience, understanding, not understanding, object. Up to intellect, Vijnanamaya Kosha, object, not consciousness. Beyond that, if you push, you come to a blankness, which you experience in deep sleep. That is called the Anandamaya Kosha. That is also an object. So the witness consciousness of these 5 objects, Pancha Kosha, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, these 5 components of the human personality, which we thought we were. Vedanta shows you are not that. This is another way of showing it. So in different ways, and another way is avasthatraya vichara, in which waking, dreaming, and deep sleep are examined to show that we are the witness of these 3 states which come and go. Conclusion is always the same, that you are this unchanging luminosity, call it Chaitanya, Chit, Atma, Turiya, different names are used, with this consciousness, unchanging. If it is unchanging, then it must be immortal, because change and death are synonymous. So this immortal luminosity, that is our real nature, and we put on coverings, body, mind. Body, mind are like instruments.